Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson and this is my preview for Manchester United against CSKA Moscow in a Champions League. Oh, how good does it feel to be saying Champions League again? So, United are going to be lining up our way and the travel is going to be more of an opponent for us than the actual team that we're playing against. I've gone through CSKA's team. They like to play free at the back. They mix it up with a 3-5-2. They occasionally play a 3-4-3 and occasionally they play a 3-1-4-1-1 as well. So, they like three at the back. They mix it around from the midfield and the forward sort of lineup. The best player, the one that we've got to look out for, is a Brazilian lad called Vitinho. Got 3 goals and 3 assists for them in about 3 or 4 games, I think, so far this season. So he's doing pretty well for them. But I've had a bit of a watch of his tape, and do you know what? He ain't that good. He's certainly someone that we can definitely deal with. He's certainly someone that we shouldn't really be worried about massively. He sort of picks the ball up in these like Mkhitaryan style areas in between the lines, and he likes to dribble it forward from central areas, you know, as opposed to like going down either of the flanks. From the Manchester United side of things, I think that we're going to see a massively rotated side. We've got so many people that haven't travelled. We've got so many people that are injured or carrying knocks and stuff like that, that picking the team is going to be an absolute nightmare. I do think David De Gea is going to be in net. I do think we're going to be seeing... Honestly, I think it's going to be Damian at right back. I think it's probably going to be Ashley Young at left back. And I think you're probably going to be seeing Smalling or Lindelof at centre-half. Maybe even Daley Blind as well. We might even go to a back 3 to match what CSKA Moscow are going to do. In midfield, I would expect to see Ander Herrera play. Who's going to partner him? We have no idea, because by the sounds of it, Carrick hasn't travelled. Pogba's clearly injured, so he's not travelled. Matic has gone, but do you want to be playing Matic? I think this is time to rotate some players. It might very well be Matic and Herrera. I don't think Scott McTominay is going to get given the nod to start. This still is Jose Mourinho, if we remember. Up front, I would expect Lukaku to be given a rest, absolutely. And I think it's time for Martial and or Rashford to be given an opportunity. This is the sort of game that you'd expect Jesse Lingard's work rate to be utilised in as well. So it's going to be a massively rotated side. I wouldn't even like to try and guess at what the starting 11 is going to be. Apart from it's going to be hugely rotated. And maybe even we rotate again going into Saturday's game against Crystal Palace too, because I think that's the sort of game that we should be definitely getting the win. But it's also the kind of game, with all the scenario that's going on, everything that's happening with Crystal Palace, that it's just written, isn't it? The whole football world is waiting to post 1,000 memes if Manchester United don't beat Crystal Palace at the weekend. But you know what? Coming back from Moscow, everything else that's happening as well, the law of averages that they're going to score a goal at some point in a game at some point in the future, I'm worried. So I think that we rotate for this one. A draw is a good result away to CSKA Moscow. I'd love to see us keeping this run going. I definitely think we can keep this run going. CSKA Moscow don't look that great, but we are playing against the conditions as well as a team. It looks bitterly cold over there in Moscow for a change. So I wouldn't be too carried away if we got a draw and a decent performance and it was a heavily rotated side. If he doesn't play a heavily rotated side and he plays something akin to what we've seen in the Premier League, excuse me, then yes, I think that's probably a bit of a nightmare for us, then trying to pull out a win against Crystal Palace at home, and that's when you can start to see things really start to unravel. But let's be positive. Let's say that we are going to play a rotated side and we're going to get a draw, or we're going to pick up 3 points on the road there in Moscow, and then we're going to go in and we're going to smash Crystal Palace at home at weekend. But I've got an ACCA for you, so check this one out. This video is sponsored by Quiff. My ACCA for this week's football, I guess, because there's some games tonight and a couple of games tomorrow as well. I'm going for Monaco to beat Porto. I'm going for Chelsea to beat Atletico Madrid. I know that sounds a little bit wild, but we've all got to pull a big one out sometimes, haven't we, to make sure we get the win. I've got United beating CSKA Moscow, Arsenal beating Borisov by a couple of goals. I've got Tottenham to beat Nicosia, and I've got Liverpool to beat Spartak and City to beat Shakhtar Donetsk. So it's not the craziest ACCA in the world. The 2-goal thing for Arsenal might be a bit of a difficult one, and the Chelsea Atletico one's definitely going to be where it slips up, if at all. But decent odds, decent return. Make sure to get it yourself. Download Quiff. The link is in the description below. You can get odds that get turbo boosted to all sorts of madness. Just go and check them out on social media and see some of the odds that get completely turbo boosted. Mine didn't get turbo boosted this time around, but it's still a pretty decent return if you fancy it. So check in tomorrow after the game. I'll be doing my review and we'll be seeing how far off my bets are for this one. Thanks for watching. I don't know, get your score predictions in below and starting 11 in below. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.